42, baby. Let's go. Get her back in the water. Oh, she won't be fit. Look at that. Off she went. All right, babe. Congratulations.
Good morning, Adventure Fishing Nation. It's Saturday morning. As you can see, the sun behind me is just about ready to come up. It's a beautiful but windy morning this morning. It's about 0 degrees. It's the 12th of February. And we've got a pretty good episode for you this morning. We've got a number of things we're going to look at. And as you could see from the opening clip, we're going to have some pretty good fishing videos from the last 2 years, fishing seasons 2019 and 2020. So what are we going to discuss on this episode? And take a look at Great Lakes, world-class lakes, Rainy Lake, Lake of the Woods, Mille Lacs, Net Lake. There's a number of them. Red Lake, there's a number of them in Minnesota here. But what if you want to find that obscure, small, great fishing lake that when you go to fish, you have it essentially to yourself? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in the next couple of episodes. I've broken up our discussion into 2 parts. And this episode is going to have the first part on the research that you can do to find that super good lake. What are you looking for? Now, me being a predominantly pike fisherman, I look for one thing. Say you're looking for lake trout, and there's lakes that are naturally producing lakers up in the Arrowhead. Walleyes, obviously. What are you looking for structure? And are they actually in the lake? Are the fish actually naturally reproducing in the lake? Those are the questions that we're going to look at here. And a lot of those questions can be answered online. The third segment of this episode is going to feature a friend of mine by the name of Mike Ray. He is a former airline pilot, fighter pilot at the local Duluth Air Base. He has quite a life of experiences and so forth, and I'm just going to show a short clip and give you a taste. We're going to have an entire episode of an interview I did with him recently, and talking about his life, things that he's experienced, and plus he's going to offer a little bit of advice along the way, so you can't miss that. Without further ado, let's get into our discussion on how to find that ultimate lake, part 1. We're going to go online here, and looking at the computer, there's a couple of websites, first of all, that I want to point out. We're going to do a search on Forest Service Roadmap, U.S. Forest Service Roadmap. And we're going to bring it up. And there's a website. I'm going to use my clicker. I'm going to click on Interactive Visitor Map, USDA Forest Service. This, my friends on YouTube, is an incredible website. It's obviously done by the government, but believe it or not, it's really good. And it's going to tell us a number of things. All right, we're just going to close this out for now and just set that off to the side. All right, now we're going to open up another site. We're going to open up Minnesota. Got to type correctly. Minnesota fishing lakes. And we're going to go down here. Where to fish. Okay. going to open up Lake Finder desktop. All right, we're on Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Lake Finder desktop. All right, now for most guys in Minnesota, you all know about this, but for people from out of state, perhaps this is an incredible website. And then we're going to open up Find a Lake by Map. All right, this has, I guess, all the lakes that have been categorized by the Department of Natural Resources in Minnesota. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go up. Here's Duluth. Here's Lake Superior. The finger points down towards Duluth. We're going to go up here to Silver Bay. Silver Bay is just north of Chattahoochee State Park. Here's Highway 1 that leaves Silver Bay. And where it juts, where it juts to the west right here is, for lack of a better term, they call it Isabella. Now, quite often the guys at work will ask me, they'll say, I'm bragging up pictures or whatever, showing off whatever we're doing. And well, they'll ask me, where are you fishing? And I'll say, well, Isabella area. Well, if you take a look at the Isabella area, I mean, there's just hundreds of lakes. You know, there's one thing I want to point out here. All right, we mentioned in the last video, all right, we've got Duluth here. We've got International Falls up here by the lake. Oh, let's look at it from here. All right, Duluth, International Falls, Highway 53. What I kind of sort of consider the Arrowhead region. All right, if you draw a line from here to the edge of Minnesota, that's 150 miles. If you draw a line from Silver Bay north to the Canadian border, that's 50 miles. And so this area is roughly 150 miles by 50 miles tall and wide. So we're talking about an amazing area. And since we're on this site, everything shown in green is national forest. All right, this does not only apply, this site. Now we're back on the interactive visitors map for the U.S. Forest Service. I mean, it's an amazing amount of Forest Service land. All right, now as we bring it into the Arrowhead, we're going to get a little closer. You're going to see some darker green. That is the Boundary Waters canoe area. As we did one, that's the area where there's no motorized vehicles allowed. I'm sitting there talking to the wrong camera, sorry. That's the area where you're not allowed to take a four-wheeler, that you're not allowed to take a snowmobile. You're not even allowed to take a powered auger back in there, or a chainsaw. One thing, just as a sidelight, that is allowed in the Boundary Waters canoe area is sled dogs. Now, if you got the money, you can book a trip back into the Boundary Waters going 15 miles an hour with a crew of sled dogs, and you can fish all over this. But I prefer to walk, I guess. It's interesting that the Boundary Waters canoe area, starting at Ice Inn, is essentially barren. Outside of sled dogs and maybe just a couple of guys crazy enough like us to walk in there, it's nobody's going back in there. So you've got the area pretty well to yourself.
Missed it. Can Todd do it? Can Todd get in the bite, folks? We don't know. What do you think? What's the odds? Just bring him up close enough, we'll grab him. Look at that. That's a nice fish, too. coming. He's going for it. He's going. Ooh, he had half in his mouth. He didn't take it to the... It's a nice fish. Are you kidding this? Yeah, he's swimming away though. Yeah, he is. Okay. Oh, now he's interested in this melt. He took the head. If he would have taken the hook, it had him. He was an inch away from being up here. But now you got to taste that it's real. Yeah, exactly. Just took it. Just took it. There, he swallowed it. I could set the hook as soon as he swims away. He has the whole thing in his mouth. He's gonna fight pretty good, you think? Yeah. Pull her out of his mouth. Yeah.
Huge.
Oh,
It's a monster.
it's heavy.
Jeez.
42, baby. Let's go. Get her back in the water. Oh, she's going to fit.
Look at that.
Off she went. Congratulations.
Are you getting this?
Yes.
And swallowed it too. I do not know how I did not cut that. Holy cripes. Oh yeah, she gorked it.
It's all the way down.
Yep. But northerns are super tough fish. You can cut the hook
Yeah.
and they'll swallow it down.
Here you go.
I can't believe that. Two fish.
You want to
like
measure that?
that? Yeah. Oh,
Look at the size of that thing.
it's like the same. I think they're the same fish.
Yeah, I was about to say it almost
I
looks
don't
like
know.
the same fish.
He had those markings. I'm gonna hold it right
Yeah.
there, right there. Right.
Sit.
41 and a half. So not the same fish.
Not quite.
Oh my word, I can't believe that. That never happens.
You want me to snap some pictures for you?
Yeah, if you could take some of my phone.
Sure.
A swan? You hit a swan that got sucked in?
I guess. You know, if you fly out of Minneapolis on the Adis, there's always a caution migratory waterfowl. They're following the river down there.
Mhm.
It's always on the Adis. And so this was a, clear day, but we still got that on the Adis. And I was first officer. And we're taking off on 1-2 or whatever it is, towards the river. And yeah, you saw a whole bunch of geese or something flying. And me being the trained co-pilot that I am, told the captain, I says, okay, just don't hit any of those. Smart. How about that for some input, huh? Get that on the recorder. Yeah, pay me big bucks. He thought that's a good idea. So we take off and gear up and start our climb to go over the river, and we saw these, I guess, trumpeter swans flying along, and it's like, uh-oh. And so which way do you go? And so he decides to nose over. Well, we think what it was the very last trumpeter swan decided to nose over, and boom, hit right on the nose and went down the left side of the airplane, you know, and into the left engine, and you know, that left engine. Look at the gauges; they're going like that, you know, and so just didn't kill the engine because it's still running. So you got your hydraulics and electrics, yada yada yada. You just pull the throttle back, try to get it, you know, to run smoothly, but never did. And come around, did a big VFR single engine. Well, got both engines running, so I guess it's not technically not single engine, but came around and landed.
Loss of power on one engine.
Yeah, came
Now,
around.
did you declare an emergency?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And when we got to the ground, on the ground, now they got to find a gate for us, of course. And so they did eventually find us a gate. And the flight attendant said they could smell like cooked goose or something in the air conditioning system. What's that smell? You know, well, that was the swan we hit. But we let all of course, the passengers, they were just happy to be alive, you know.
So they knew. They knew something happened.
Yeah. And as we're letting them off the airplane, they were so thankful, you know. We were going to Detroit, from Minneapolis to Detroit. And so they were so glad to get off the airplane in one piece and get rerouted. But after they were off, I went outside and looked at the plane. Yeah, and there was, I guess it's swan guts all down the left side of the airplane. The engine was chopped up, and yeah, that airplane was done for a while. The JFK story?
Yeah.
Okay. Pan Am, taking off 30 left. JFK, we're going to, it was Dallas that day. I was in the right seat. And if you take off a 30 left out of JFK, it's kind of a fun takeoff because it even says on the departure, as soon as possible type of wording. You don't wait for a certain altitude you turn. As soon as possible, you start this left turn, and it's for noise abatement. So what you do as soon as you take off, it's kind of fun departure because you barely get gear, positive rate, gear up, left turn, hey, yeah, baby. Yeah. So, and it was cloudy that day, so we in our left turn, heading to Canarsie, and all of a sudden we see this big orange thing right on our nose go boom like this, and went, holy buckets. Initially we thought mid-air collision, then we thought, all of us, oh, we're still alive. If it was a mid-air, we probably wouldn't be flying.